I am here to talk about the books I read in the month of June. So I only ended up reading 4 books in June, which is pretty bad considering that, like, to get to my Goodreads goal I need to be reading like 7 books a month. So I am like 7 books behind because I made the goal of reading 80 and I've only read 33 so far this year, and that's pretty bad. So I'm like behind, and now I don't know if I'm going to reach that goal because I thought I'd get to 80 because of audiobooks, but I just haven't been listening to like that many. Like before I would average like 2 a month, and I'm barely getting like 1 done in a month. My physical reading is lagging, but like even my audiobooks are lagging because it's not that hard to listen to because it's not much effort. You just listen to it as you drive, but it's just getting hard. But I did only read 3 physical books and 1 audiobook this month, and I'm excited to show you what I read. Just saying though, I did read 2 books that were over 600 pages this month, so I feel like that has to account for something. So even though I only read 4 books, I got a lot of pages read. So the first book I read is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. So I actually did read like 150 pages of it in April, and it took me until June to actually finish it off. But I finally did it. I have finally finished my reread of The Mortal Instruments, and I am so keen because I should have started this book like a year and a half ago, but I finally did it. I finally picked it up. I made it a thing. I made it happen, and hopefully that means I can get to the Dark Artifices and actually get those books read. But it was so much fun getting back into this book and seeing everything that happened. But to be honest, when they had the storyline where they go to the place that they go to in this book, I didn't realize it happened so early on. I thought it was like way later in the book. So when I was reading it, I'm like, oh shit, they're already there. I was very shocked. But I love how this book ends, and like I love the character interactions, and there was just so much going on. That's why this book has to be like, what, 800 pages, 700 pages, 730 pages. Like, this is a beast of a book, and I just had so much fun rereading it and just finally getting to it. The other thick bitch I read this month was The Toll by Neil Shusterman. So this one's 620 something pages, and this is a pretty big book. So I'm very happy to finish like 2 series this month because it helps me with my reading goal, and it gets me up there a little bit and having some things finished, because I have not finished that many series this year, and I don't really do a good job in general. Like, I start them, I never finish them, so I'm so excited I got to 2 of them. This is the final book in the Arc of the Sky trilogy, and it wasn't as good as the first 2, I will admit. And I have a full book review where I go into much more detail about how I feel about this book and all the reasons why it was a little bit disappointing. Like, I still gave it 4 stars. I still thought it was a really good conclusion. It just wasn't at the same standard as like Thunderhead and Scythe, and Thunderhead was my favorite book in the whole trilogy because the level of angst and pain I went through reading that book was just very, very hard to deal with. And when I had to wait for this book to come out, then it took me 6 months to actually read it. It kind of died down a little bit. It does conclude. There was a few things I was a bit like, okay, this got a bit weird, but yeah, I am still excited I finally got to this book. The audiobook I listened to was What I Like About You by Marissa Cantor, and I also have a book review for this book because I didn't like it that much. This is a book that I'm very disappointed in because I was so excited about it because the premise of this book was really, really cool, and it just did not work after I started reading it because it was so irritating, and the main character irritated me, just the main plot irritated me, because this book is basically marketed as a love triangle between 2 people, because our main character Hallie has this online persona where she does like book reviews and does book talks and does the bookish thing online, but her persona is Kels, and that is what she blogs under. And she has her best friend Nash, who is also a book person, and they are online and they're best friends. And then she moves and she finds Nash in the place that she moves to because she doesn't know where her best friend lives, which is again dumb, but she moves there and she meets Nash and she doesn't tell him who she is. So he starts to form this relationship with Hallie, but also he has his online relationship with Kels, and just, it shits me. Like, it actually shits me because she just lies the whole time, and that is what makes this book so hard. And again, if you do want to check out that review, because I filmed it knowing that probably not that many people are going to read this book, so I'd recommend reading it for how bad it was, because you might actually like it, because like I just did not. And I ranted quite a lot in that video, so I will link both reviews down below, like for The Toll and for What I Like About You. But this book was just a no-go and one of the most disappointing things I've read this year. And the last book I read this month was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. So I finally did it. I have finally read Legendary and continued on with this trilogy. I think it's had to have been at least 3 years since I actually read Caraval, and for so long I wanted to read Legendary, and then Finale came out, then I bought Finale, so I had both the books sitting on my shelf for so long, and I finally got to this book, and it was really, really good. I had a really fun time with this. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. I think. I really loved Teller and like being in Caraval again and having another game and having the same elements of like, is it real, is it not, is it going to be awesome, like what's going to happen, and it was just really, really fun, and the intrigue is so good. And I also have to say I really love Dante as a character, and he was in the first book, but I didn't remember a lot from the first book, so being in this one and seeing more of him, it was really, really fun. And I just can't wait for the third book, and I am going to read it soon, but I'm actually reading something else, trying to spark my like wanting to read, and it's not really working. I'm reading this book really slow as well. I feel like July is going to be a very slow reading month as well, so I'm like looking forward to that because I'd love to read more, but it's just not working for me at the moment. So these are the physical books I read anyway, because I can hold these up. I don't have a copy of What I Like About You, and I'm not going to buy a copy because I generally keep buying the books that I've read once I've listened to them on an audiobook, because I like to have physical copies and I like to have books that I've read in my collection, but I've got to get into the habit of only buying them if they're a book I really, really enjoyed. So there is some that I bought that were kind of books, you know, like they were good, weren't bad, but I've definitely not bought any that I hated, because why would you want to buy a book that you hated? And technically Reign of the Fallen was a book I already owned when I listened to it on audiobook, and that book sucked. So that's like the only one that I owned that I didn't enjoy. So I am definitely getting better at that habit because I haven't been buying as many. But yes, I know I'm definitely not going to buy that one. Okay, coming up for my read by tally, I actually did fail this month because I ended up buying 5 books, even though the book haul I'm going to have is going to have like 8 books in it, but there were some things that weren't actually books and some ones that I've already read, and then I got a review copy from Pear Macmillan, so there's a little bit there, and I will be doing a book haul in the next like week or two to show you all the new things I got. But as I only read 4 and I bought 5, I sadly failed this month. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed my wrap up, and yes, it was quite small. I know this video is going to be small when I edit it because there wasn't that much footage. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!